Okay, it looks like Monica might be frozen for a second. Oh, there she is. Go ahead, Monica.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Wonderful welcome to Antage and Erika Reyes. And I think we are starting from a bit of a technical glitch here and there, but let's hope it's not going to continue throughout the live. So hello, and how is everyone? How are you, Deborah?
Doing good. Just here and ready to hear Erika's amazing story and hear all about Eva.
And how are you, Erika? And thank you so much for joining us. I know that people were responding so warmly to you and Eva's story. So hello, and tell us all about it. But no, I'm joking. Let's start from a brief introduction because we want to hear it from you. What's been happening between now and then? I mean, what's been happening with you recently? We know you went a long journey from trying to conceive your daughter, and now you've got beautiful little toddler. So tell us what's been happening recently with you two.
Well, we actually are scheduling her, I think, 5th sleep study test to see if she can finally come off of oxygen. So we did that this morning. She's been on oxygen for a little over a year at night. That's the newest, anyways. Besides that, we just continue our therapies that we have for her. She's in 4 therapies right now, but she's waiting for her 5th one. We have no idea when that's going to start, but she's a busy bee.
It's quite intense. Yes. Well, she looks so happy and so much a standard toddler. If it wasn't for that remarkable journey she had to go through from the first days of her life.
Before she was born.
Yes, even before she was born. That's right. There was a surgery.
Yes.
That's to me, it's just the most remarkable story I've heard so recently, and I found it on Humankind, I believe that's the name of the YouTube or Facebook page, and I felt so warmed by your story. I'm sure everyone feels similarly, and you've created a page for your daughter. So that's, I've noticed, has currently about 8,000 followers.
Yes.
So I'm not the only one who felt so warmed up to you and the lovely little girl. So tell us about that. What's obviously you feel very strongly about so positive contribution, being an advocate for families in a similar situation, facing similar challenges. Is it something you sort of dedicate a chunk of your day, chunk of your time?
Yeah, all of my time. This is pretty much what I do. I mean, even for school, it's what I'm going to school for also. A lot of people reach out to me through her Instagram or through her Facebook page. Some of them have contacted me personally on my Facebook page also in regards to questions about therapies or how I knew she had spina bifida, or what her sonogram looked like, or what we went through with her first surgery, or when she got her shunt, and simple stuff. Just what kind of shoes does she wear? Can you give me any advice on how to go about getting my kid into daycare? Or it's all sorts of questions and all sorts of advice that people come to seek from me. So my phone's always in my hand. I'm always online. I try not to miss a phone call or a message or an email.
I'd really love to hear, Erica, I'd love to hear your story kind of from the beginning. Like Monica and I know a little bit about it, but for anyone that's tuning in I mean, just the surgery she had before she was even born, I would love to hear what your experience was like kind of from the get-go. And I know you started out with a little bit of, like you were saying about your page being an infertility page first. So I'd love to hear about that.
So, my husband and I have been together for 8 years. We first got pregnant in 2013, which I had a miscarriage. And then 2014 and 2015, I had 2 ectopic pregnancies. So we went to a specialist. We saw 2 different ones, and both of them said the same thing. The chances of me getting pregnant on my own and to carry a full-term pregnancy was very low. Granted, I had the 2 ectopic pregnancies. I still have both of my fallopian tubes. So that was very surprising that I still have both of them, and which made it more difficult for me to get pregnant because my tubes are damaged. So initially the Fight Like Ava page was for my infertility because my husband and we had started the process to get IVF done. I think the only thing I'd gotten done was just blood work, which put me 20 grand in the hole already for just blood work because I didn't have any insurance when I got it done. And 2 months later, I got pregnant with Ava on her own without any help from any doctors. So then the page was really just going to follow my pregnancy. And that's really all I had planned at that point was just, hey, like, this is my miracle daughter. Like, join us on this journey until we got her diagnosis when I was almost 24 weeks pregnant when I had my anatomy scan. And that's when they saw her spina bifida, her hydrocephalus, and her Chiari malformation. So her page kind of transformed into Fight Like Ava because she's been fighting since before she was born. I mean, we didn't know what her prognosis would be because, you can't predict the future. All the doctors can do is give us the worst possible outcome on what to expect, right? And nobody likes to hear the worst news possible. So thankfully for us, not everything they said was true. We got very lucky. The surgery that she had at 26 weeks, I do believe was very helpful. She had fetal surgery at 26 weeks to repair her spine. So her spine was detached while I was still pregnant with her. And she was missing skin on her lower back. So in order to get the fetal surgery, it was an extensive amount of work. You would not believe all the bruises I had on me from getting all the blood work done, the amniocentesis, the genetic disorder testing done, the chromosomal blood work done. I had to get blood work done. She had to get blood work done. We both had to be perfectly healthy and good shape. Nothing. I mean, it was crazy. But the timeline for that is a lot longer than I had the time for. So they pushed abortion. Everybody pretty much pushed abortion because everything that they were saying, paralysis. She might not be able to eat or drink or use the bathroom on her own, So, when you hear things like that, what do you think? You're thinking, okay, she's going to be in bed for her whole life, like that's no way, for a child to have to live. But here, baby, here. But I don't know. Something just told me that they were wrong, and boy, were they wrong. They were definitely wrong. I mean, the surgery was incredible. It was intense, painful, long.
Can you tell what that surgery was? Because to me, I'd never heard of it. How did you even find out about it?
I found out about it through, her name is Lauren. She was my ultrasound technician at Brandon Hospital who did my anatomy scan. And she actually used to work with pregnant women, and I believe she actually did something with abortions. I could be wrong, but she actually told me about the surgery, and I was like, is that a real thing? Like, you hear about it on Grey's Anatomy, but you don't see about it in real life. So I had no idea what it was. And then I found a group on Facebook. I reached out to a couple of people, Megan, Amanda, Nicole, and then I found my Fetal Care Center in Orlando with Dr. Albaba. And I got in contact with them. The insurance I had, because I had Medicaid, was not covered by the surgery. So our team actually went to the board and asked them to do the surgery on my daughter. And they said, yeah, you know, we'll cover the cost of the surgery. So that's pretty much how I found out about it. But the surgery itself, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, you see pictures of a baby, right? You've seen the photo of the baby reaching out to the parents. That was the first fetal surgery baby. And that's really how it is. So they cut me open, you know, just like they would do a C-section. They found Ava. She was, you know, this itty teeny tiny bitty thing that was 26 weeks pregnant. They found her. They flipped her over inside of my stomach and put a skin graft on her back and, you know, sewed her up and sewed me back up, and bam, she was just still in my stomach. It was crazy. I don't really know how to explain it. I wish I could have gotten a video of it. I wish I could have seen it. I mean, I can't even imagine. I remember being in the room. I remember getting my epidural. And I remember everything was white. You hear about it in movies, you know, you see it in movies, you know, a person laying on the operating table and all they see is these bright white lights surrounded by all these white walls. That's how it was. And then count down from 100, and I think I got to like 92, and I felt my eyes just slowly closing and closing and closing, and then I woke up. And it was the craziest thing, feeling yourself drift off to get the surgery to save your child's life. I mean, it was crazy. And the one thing I told myself was, try to remember going under. Like, try. And I did, and it was scary. Very scary.
Well, and I'm curious too, just what does it feel like to have the fight go, you know, and it is a fight, you know, especially whenever the child isn't even, you know, here yet. And so what did it feel like just having to put all of your faith in the hands of literally strangers?
I was scared, you know, from being told I couldn't have kids to having to getting pregnant with my daughter, and then having to trust my daughter's life in somebody else's hands was terrifying. I mean, because there was a chance that during the surgery she could have been born. I think the smallest baby born at the hospital she was born at, I think, was like 21 weeks or 22 weeks. 26 weeks is very young. So it was very terrifying, but I did a lot of research on Dr. Albaba before we did the surgery, and he is world renowned. He is amazing. I do not trust any other doctors now to touch my daughter. He has performed 3 of her brain surgeries. She's had 3 brain surgeries, and he has done all of them. I will say it was terrifying, but it has made me be able to put my faith into other people when it comes down to my daughter.
Wow. Well, you've experienced a lot. You both experienced a lot, but you've also shown so much faith and strength. And I just wonder what would be your advice for anyone in a similar situation when you have to find that faith. How do you even remember how you were managing that at the time? Did you have any practices you used to stay strong and positive?
I actually did a candle lit vigil for Ava before we had surgery. I think it was about a week before we had the surgery, or before she had the surgery, I should say. So we went there and I read a prayer, and then I have a wide variety of friends. So I have some spiritual friends, some Christian friends. So it was really great because we all kind of came together. I have one friend, I don't know what her religion is. I know it is a different language. And her family were there, and her friends were there, and we got into our little group, and she prayed in her religion for us, and then my Christian friends prayed for us, and and it was great to see everybody could put their differences aside for one little girl. So just to honestly feel all that different love coming from all different types of religions was amazing. It was a really good experience. And man, I prayed, I begged, I cried every day. But something told me in my gut to not give up. And because of her, I will never give up on anything again. I will never listen to what anybody has to say about a situation.
Mm-hmm. So the advice is listen to your own voice, internal voice, trust your intuition.
Yes.
You know the best. You are the expert on yourself and your child as well.
Mm-hmm. And we talk about support a lot during the lives, just how important. And I love what you said about everybody was able to put their differences aside. And just, I think that's the most important thing, is when you can all come together for something as pure as an unborn child that is fighting their own fight. And I thought it was interesting because you said her surgery, but it was your surgery too, Mama. I mean, I'm sure there was some risks on both of y'all's sides. So like, what was that like for you? Like, she had her own experience, but coming out of that and finding that it was successful. Were you sharing that information with your support groups the whole time?
Yes. There were a lot of risks for the both of us. And the one thing I told my mom, my dad, and my husband, which nobody wanted to hear what I had to say, was if it comes down to it, you are to pick my daughter's life over mine, because I've had 25 years to live, and she hasn't even gotten that chance before she's already going through so much in her life. So there were definitely a lot of risks for the both of us, and I was prepared to take that risk for her, just to give her a shot at life, a chance at living. And I'd do it again. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Knowing what I know now and going through what I went through and all the pain and all the tears, I would still 100% do it again, if it means that she would still be here exactly the way that she is.
Oh, so amazing. And tell us how remarkable that recovery is. Do you have any statistics in terms of, I mean, you did mention that the two different doctors were giving you a rather pessimistic vision of what's there for you and your daughter. But in terms of, comparison, how much of a miracle it is?
I don't know if it's my end, but you're breaking up a little bit right now. And I can't hear you. You went mute.
Because my mic is muted. That's why. Yeah, when your mic is muted, nobody can hear you. Am I staticky too?
Nope, you're perfect.
Oh, okay. And I think Monica's back. Monica, can you ask that same question again? You were a little staticky earlier.
I know. I'm sorry. I was asking about statistics in terms of Ava's recovery. How much of a miracle it actually is. You had very negative, pessimistic visions of the future from two different doctors, if I remember correctly. So in comparison, how much of a miracle it is?
Again.
Oh.
Okay. So what Monica was asking was, with the pessimistic, in the medical field, that they have to give you, the options of what can happen. But do you have any idea of how, like a surgery like this that is so incredible, what are the odds? What do you know? I'm sure they gave you statistics all day long, but what could the outcomes have been?
Well, I know for Ava, what we were hoping for was that. Give me that. Spit that out. Was that Can I have that? Thank you. Having the fetal surgery to repair her spine is said to increase her mobility, which she actually came out wiggling her toes. Here, baby. And they were hoping it would stabilize her hydrocephalus, which is built up fluid in her brain. Which it did. It stabilized her hydrocephalus, and to hopefully reverse her Chiari malformation. Reversing Chiari with having fetal surgery does happen. It's happened to a couple of our other fetal surgery babies from Orlando. Ava's, however, did not reverse. Her Chiari was so severe, it stayed the same. That's where her cerebellum in the back of the brain, which affects balance, coordination, eating, swallowing, breathing. It's supposed to be in the back of the brain. Hers was pulled down from her spina bifida all the way down into her neck. So that did not reverse. But the statistics for the fetal surgery, from what I have seen, is outstanding. I think there is now 14 of us fetal surgery families from Orlando at Whitney Palmer Hospital. And as far as I know, all the babies are doing great. Ava was officially the youngest baby born at 30 weeks and 2 days. My water broke 1 week after the surgery at 27 weeks. I managed to stay pregnant for another 3 weeks until I hit 30 weeks and 2 days before she decided she was going to be stubborn and she wanted to be born that day. But there was another baby who was born, I think, at 26 weeks. And as far as I know, all the babies are thriving. The statistics for it are very well.
I'm sure that must have given you some hope, to hear, it's interesting in hearing, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, but then actually seeing the faces of babies and just being like, that's going to be my baby. Like that, my baby will be one of those babies. Like, it just gives me tingles all over. Just, I want also, because we talked a lot about Ava before she was born. So what has gone on with her since she was born? Because with spinal bifida, of course, there is that concern of paralysis, of not being able to walk. But in all the videos, she just looks like she's such a go-getter. So tell us about her since birth.
So like I said, Ava was born at 30 weeks and 2 days. So because she had recently had that surgery, her back was not healed completely, or honestly, hardly at all. So she spent 87 days in the NICU before she was able to come home. She was there 3 weeks past her due date. But so she actually started physical therapy while she was in the NICU. And let me tell you what, the physical therapy at that hospital was amazing. She still receives it now through Early Steps. And she's doing really great. She was born wiggling her toes. And I remember hearing Dr. Albaba say, you need to go tell your wife. And in that second, I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? Because the first thing I said was, why isn't she crying? Babies are supposed to cry when they're born. Why isn't she crying? And my husband's like, she's fine, just relax. And I was like, no, I can't hear her. And then I hear my doctor say, you need to go and tell your wife. And I'm thinking the worst. But he wanted my husband to tell me that she actually was wiggling her toes the second that she was born. So I was just bawling my eyes out. I was so excited. And she's made a lot of improvements since then. She likes to stick her feet up in the air and just watch her feet, and she like moves her little ankles around, and she can feel her toes, she can feel her feet, she can feel everything from the waist down. She's made a lot of progress. She wears SMOs, which are special shoes for her feet, because her muscles are weak in her ankles, so it causes her feet to turn to the right. And she walks with assistance. She has a walker, which she loves. Come here. She's made a lot of improvements, though. She's had 3 brain surgeries. She had an ETB CPC done before she was 1, and that was not working like it needed to. So they did a shunt a couple months later, again before she turned 1 year old. So since then, everything's been great. She gets an MRI done every 6 months of her brain. Everything's great. Everything's stable. She had a Chiari decompression for her Chiari to try to help, push it back up, and it moved a little bit, but it's still all the way pulled down into her neck. But she seems to be improving a lot. I mean, a lot of the things that they said she wouldn't be able to do, she's doing. She was recently diagnosed with autism, so that kind of puts a lot more things into perspective as to why she does certain things, and why she's not talking just yet. So that's another. She gets speech therapy also, but she is a chatterbox. She does like to yell and scream, so she is your typical toddler. She's upside down.
Oh, that's amazing. So much joy. But how much time do you still need to devote to therapies? You mentioned that there are still various therapies involved. Is it something on daily basis, or is it happening on regular basis, but not that often?
Yeah, she gets therapy weekly. She gets physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and feeding therapy every week. Her 5th therapy will be for her autism, and they want to do 40 hours of that a week. So each other therapy is only an hour a week. So that's 4 hours of therapy a week. If they do the ABA therapy, then that's going to be 40 hours. They're going to start slow, and then slowly introducing more and more time. So that would be about 44, 45 hours a week of therapy. But it's not that bad, honestly. I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to it, because she's had it for so long, and it's just just a regular normal day for me, or I don't know.
I asked that question specifically because Erika is a student, so you do find time for your studies as well.
Yes,
which is really impressive, because we all know how
she froze.
Still take a significant amount of time for you. So it's how do you manage it all?
I'm not sure if you were able to hear Erika, but she was asking, how do you do it all? Like with you, having your life that you're needing to, go about your regular everyday thing. Like, how do you incorporate all the therapies? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let you answer. How do you do it all?
My husband, he's a big help. He works a lot, almost every day, actually, besides Sundays. But whenever he is home, he'll, take Ava and, give me my break to, do my finals or my studies or things like that. But besides, and thankfully, I actually do college online. So it does work out. I can do it before she wakes up or when she's asleep, and I can pace myself and take my time and do it. So that really actually helps out a lot too. That, and like I said, my husband is, her dad's a huge help. So I got lucky.
Well, I think you bring up such an important point. I think it's such an important point that dads, I think sometimes dads do get left out because they're not physically, on having the surgeries. But thanks for bringing that point around, because that was one of the things that I was going to ask and mention, that just dads get left out of the conversation sometimes. So thanks for like kind of giving him that little shout out and acknowledging him too. It's a big piece.
Yeah, he was there. When Ava and I had the surgery, and she was in the NICU. Sorry, my phone is blowing up right now. When she was in the NICU, I stayed out there with her in Orlando. So I was in the hospital for a month. My husband and I video chatted every day because we live in Florida. The hospital is about an hour 15, hour and a half away. So my husband and I, we video chatted every day. He would come and he'd spend a night or two with me a week until I had her. And then even when she was in the NICU for 3 months, which I stayed out in Orlando with her, he would come out there on his days off right after work, and he would stay out there with us, and he would, let me sleep in, and he would go to the hospital, first thing in the morning, because we didn't have to be at the hospital to change her and to do this and to do that, but we wanted to be there every step of the way. We wanted every parent wants to be there for their child as soon as they're born. So that's what we still try to do. We just had to work around the doctors and the nurses. So he would come, and he actually got to change her first diaper. So that was a little sad, but I was happy for him. But yeah, I mean, he's been a huge help. I mean, he got to see her first. He got to hold her first. It's every child needs both parents. So we're both very fortunate to have a man like him in our lives.
So what is on, I know therapies are a big part of life. What's on Ava's plate now? What is she doing moving forward?
Well, right now I'm actually looking into putting her into daycare when she's 3 years old. But honestly, that's kind of it for right now. I mean, we're really just focusing on her therapies and trying to get her to, I guess, learn. Ava is severely delayed. So they say by the time a child reaches, I believe, the age of 6, that's pretty much where they're going to be mentally, as they continue to age. So we're really trying to work with her, on understanding and communicating and, socializing, with other people and becoming independent and things like that. So now that I have 5 weeks of Christmas break, I actually will have all the time in the world to work a little bit harder to, interact more with her and, try to help her learn and understand things. But one of the newest things that she is doing is she's going to actually be featured in a special needs calendar in Polk County, Florida. So we're really excited about that. We're trying to reach out to some sponsors to get them to sponsor the magazine. But it's not just her either. It's, all kids, different ages, different disabilities and things like that. So that's pretty exciting for us. We have a couple other things in store, but I don't want to jinx it yet. So I'm going to keep that on the low. But we have some exciting things happening if we get the okay for it. So I'm kind of just going with the flow.
All right, I'm going to see if Monica, are you there? Can you, I see you blinking, but I'm not sure. Are you with us?
I am.
Okay. I thought I'd give you an opportunity to, if you had anything else to ask Erika about Ava or
I just wanted to add, if you can hear me, I just wanted to say a big thank you to ladies who were part of this show and watched our interview with Erika, our chat. So Andrea, Diana, Angel, thank you so much for being with us today. There are some lovely comments. We had so much love sent to us, specifically the little girl who's the star of the show. So thank you so much. I've got no questions. Deborah, do you have any other questions? Or Erika, do you want to add anything to to this conversation?
I think if I had to say anything, I would tell, parents in similar situations to listen to your gut and to fight that fight too, because it's worth it. And doctors are not always right.
That was my question. So you did a great job, Erika, of wrapping it up perfectly.
Yes.
Did we freeze?
I don't know.
Okay,
I think she's
hold on,
there
okay.
still.
Yes, I'm back. So sorry. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for your patience and bearing with us for the technical glitches. And thank you so much, Erika, for bringing your story alive again for us, sharing the incredible journey. And thank you, Deborah, for being such a wonderful co-host. And I always look forward to seeing you here on this show. So thank you. Have a wonderful, blessed day or evening.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Erika.